Hey there friends, welcome to my channel and to today's video. So today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing an eyeshadow palette declutter. And this was the second most requested video on the community tab that I posted. And so I really went through my collection and I really asked myself, like, which of these palettes could I let go of? Because here and there I get new palettes and I really kind of have this whole mentality of like, when I take one in, I like to push some things out of my collection just so that I don't get too overwhelmed. Now I have a ton more storage now than I used to have, obviously, because I have all of this stuff back here, the shelving. So my drawers, pretty much those bottom three drawers where I held my eyeshadow palettes before, they're entirely empty. So I have the room. I guess I just don't feel like I need these anymore. So I just decided it was time. It was time to let go of them. Some of them I've had for a long time. And some of them I just got recently. And so there's a rhyme and reason for everything. And so this is what we're going to do today. So welcome if you're new. Hi, my name is Amy. This is Dolly Mama Beauty. On this channel, I love to talk about eyeshadow palettes most of all. That's my favorite thing about makeup is eyeshadow palettes. Obviously, look at my eyes. I like to go big or go home when it comes to eyeshadow makeup. And sometimes that's a lot. But I like this look, and if you like it too, I used the Blend Bunny palettes to create it, namely the Machina palette and the Longing palette to create this look today. So basically, I talk a lot about eyeshadow palettes on this channel, but I also talk about bargain beauty. I love all sorts of makeup. I love lots of drugstore makeup. I tend to gravitate towards that for every other aspect of my makeup versus going towards high-end like blushes, foundations, all of that stuff. So I like everything. The holidays are coming up. Holiday sets are coming up. I love sets. I love minis. I also am excited about the Black Friday sales that are going to be happening. We already have some Halloween sales. And I'm super excited because there are a lot of new releases coming out and I'm very interested. So please subscribe to my channel today. Please click the thumbs up button and also the subscribe button and the notification bell next to it. You do all three at the same time. It doesn't cost you a dime. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So let's get started. And thank you so much. So I have a big stack here. Some of these palettes may surprise you. Some of them may not. Some of them I've just had for eons and eons. And some I just kind of inherited from my friend Kayla, and I still love them, but she said to me when she handed me these palettes, she said, well, if some of these palettes aren't for you, you can go ahead and, you know, pass them on. And I said, yeah, you know what, I will do that if I have to. But basically, long story short, I just went through and I even just picked up a few more before I started filming this because I felt like, okay, I am going to just, you know, I'm going to put these aside. I'm going to put these in one of my drawers. I'm not ready to mail them yet to Project Beauty Shared. Sometimes I have to, like, you know, get a box and then I got to pack it and all this other stuff, and it's taken me forever. But I don't want to have a box that I have sitting out waiting to go. I'll get rid of these eventually. So let's go. Okay, first palette we're going to talk about is the Baby Got Peach palette from Colourpop. I have nothing against this. This is fine. But it literally is... It's peach, and there's nothing to deepen it up with. It's got this pressed glitter in here, which I don't like. People just say, oh, take it out, whatever. I love the colors, but for me as a palette, it's like, this is something I just don't need. I have so many other shades. I do really enjoy the tones in here, but there's nothing deep in here. Listen, at the end of the day, like, I don't have to have a palette that has everything that I actually need in the whole palette. I prefer that, because sometimes I would just like to be able to use that one singular palette for the look without having to pick and grab. I mean, most people would think, okay, by this point, you're like, you know, you're just mixing and matching all the time anyway, which is true. I do mix and match a lot, but I do like palettes that offer me enough variety to get an actual full look out of, and this is not one of them. So Baby Got Peach. I did get this in a mystery box from Colourpop a while ago, and it was a 9-pan palette mystery box. I'm getting rid of 2 of those palettes and I'm keeping one, so you'll see another one of those coming up, but here you go. So there is the Colourpop Baby Got Peach. Okay, I've had this one for forever and I love this, but I never use it. It's so cute. It's one of the Huda Beauty mini Obsessions palettes. Literally, like, Do you guys remember these? I haven't seen these in a while. I mean, she still releases them. If I'm going to go for Huda Beauty anymore, I'm going to go for her larger palettes that she releases every holiday season. The Icy Nude is the one that came out this year. If I think about it, I'll put a picture right here. And I like that one. But most of the time, they're not super exciting either. So this one is the Mauves. Let me show you what it looks like. This is really great. I love this. I don't know if I want to, I do. It's just old. So I'm just going to go ahead and let it go. But it is great. I love the formulas in here. The only thing I would change would be to make this like a shimmer. But I like shades like this now, whereas I used to dislike them. Like the light mattes, sometimes I use those just to lighten shades, or I use those as brow bone highlights, which I've been doing a lot more brow bone highlights these days, or inner corner stuff. And I really do like the color story, but I'm going to let that go. Okay, this one I can't even open. So I can try to open it, but I'm not going to. I inherited this from Kayla, and this is from Black Moon Cosmetics, and this is their Black Metal palette, volume 1. This is one of those half moon shaped palettes. Now, the other one that they released like this is the matte one with the warm tones, which I really hear good things about, but this one I can't even open it, so I'm not even going to try. This one is all shimmer, and I can't open it, and so I'm just like, oh, I can't open it, I'm just going to let it go, because I don't want to have something in my collection that I can't use easily, and so this is that. Okay, so now I feel kind of sad to let this go, only because this was a gift, but I know I'm not going to use it, and it's literally brand new, and I got this for my 50th birthday, which was 2 years ago, so I don't know how new it is, but it's not been used. This is the Juvia's Place Nubian Earth Palette. I love the lipsticks that came out with this, but this palette is just so neutral. I will never, ever, ever use it. Like, it's just neutrals. It's basically neutrals. It's not, and it's a little bit cool. It's leaning more cool neutral, with the exception of this. And I just know me, and I know I'm not going to use this. I feel bad giving it away because it was a gift, but I really know I'm not going to use it. So there's that. That is the Nubian Earth Palette. And I still love Juvia's Place, but I am letting go some of the Juvia's Place palettes that I have in my collection. I just don't love them as much as I used to. But yeah, there's that. Okay, the next palette. All right, I know Annette loved this palette. I know everybody loves this brand, and I only have 2 palettes from this brand, and I really like the brand, but I find that their pricing is just kind of out of my reach. So I've never really purchased anything from them since the 2 palettes that I've gotten. This is the Lure palette from Unearthly Cosmetics, and this one actually says Unearthly. So like this was right after they rebranded, and this is the palette. This is the palette. This is pretty, but for some reason I get really stumped with these 2 shimmers. They're very much the same to me, and then these 2 mattes are very much the same to me. It just causes me not to reach for this. I know that a few years ago, like, I want to say 4 years ago now, Annette got this palette and it was in her top 3 of the year. And I bought it because of her, and I just don't use this. Unfortunately, I wish I did, but I don't. So that's the Unearthly Lure palette. Okay, I'm going to do another palette that I got from Kayla. This one is the Smoke Show palette. This one is a 9-pan palette. It's the kind of the black and white, the grayscale palette. I actually like this palette, but for me, the quality is not as good as the black and the whites that I have in other palettes. I like that they're both in this palette, but like literally if I want a black eyeshadow, I will reach for a Blend Bunny eyeshadow. If I want a white eyeshadow, I will do the same. So this doesn't really fit or suit my purpose. I kind of low-key want to take out the matte black in here and put this in the Darth Vader palette, which I might do. I might take out one of the shades in the Darth Vader palette and actually put this black in there. I think I'm going to do that, but the rest of the palette's going to go. So I'm going to put that one off to the side because I'm going to take the black, the matte black out of there and put it in the Darth Vader palette because the Darth Vader palette does not have a matte black. Who knew? Like, why? I might look at the other palette that I have and see if I can put another shade in there, Darth Vader palette, to make it have a red too. But look, oh my gosh. Anyway, nice, but I'm going to put that to the side. Okay, now I'm going to mention all 4 of these at the same time. I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I never use these and I am not at all excited about this brand anymore. These are my Futurism palettes from Unearthly. I'm not Unearthly. These are my Futurism palettes from Kaleidos. What happened to this brand? This brand does not excite me anymore. I am never going to get rid of my Club Nebula palette, which is right back here. That was the palette that they did in collaboration with Angie. I will never get rid of that palette, but these ones, I'm like, they got off of this and they started doing quads and they were all neutral. And I'm like, what is going on with this brand? Not exciting to me at all anymore. So, and I know I never use these. So I have 4 of them. I'll go through with them really quickly so you can see them all. And the quality of the shadows, is on another level. But for me, I don't use them. So this is the Kaleidos Astro Pink. It's a Futurism palette. These are all Futurism palettes. This is the Astro Pink. One of the best shimmers of all time. I should just take out the shimmers that I love, but I'm not going to do that because I'm not using these. This is the Electro Turquoise. This one was probably my favorite one of the ones that I have. Very cool color story. Betty Jean calls this her Retro Taco Bell palette, which I totally understand. That reference, as I'm old. Retro Taco Bell. This is the Cyber Bronze. This is the one I like the least. But the silver in here is like my favorite silver of all time. Alas, I'm still just going to let it go because I know I don't use it. So there's that. And then last but certainly not least is the Sci-Fi Green. This one I love, but one thing that I've never got on board with it, the black in here is on another level. This black is the best black eyeshadow in my collection by far, but these two mattes are so similar. I just can't. And I would rather, okay, let's gonna jump for joy when I say this, I'd rather get like the Melt Gemini palette and have all the same shades in that I do in this. And yeah, but this black is on another level. Really, really is. Okay, but those are the Futurism palettes. I just don't understand what happened with that brand. I don't get it. I don't get it, and I'll be so sad because it just doesn't make sense to me. These were really, really popular. I know a lot of my friends, a lot of people that I watch on YouTube that I know have these palettes will never get rid of them, but nobody talks about them anymore. Nobody talks about this brand anymore. They got away from what made them special, in my opinion, and it's like they got too safe. And it's like now it's kind of like a safe indie brand. All right, I have 3 BH Cosmetics travel palettes, 3 of them. I'm slowly going through BH, and I have another BH, a few more BH palettes coming up, one of which is going to just astonish you that I'm actually finally getting rid of it, but I have to let it go. I just do not use it. Okay, but the first one, I love this. Until I got Blend Bunny, I don't use this at all anymore. This is the Lost in Los Angeles palette. I loved this for a long time. This is pastel, but it's more mid-tone pastel. I like the pastels in, like, say for instance in all the Blend Bunny palettes, and if I needed a mid-tone pastel, I have it here, but I have mid-tone pastels in the Blend Bunny palette, so I don't need this. So I'm sad to let it go, but it's time. I collected all of those at one point, you guys. After today, I will have 2 left. 2. No, I'll only have 1, because hold on one second, I'm going to grab the other one that I have that I should get rid of. Correction, I will still have 2. I had 3 left on my shelf. Now I have 2 left. This one was a gift from Evelyn, and I still love it, but I know I'm never going to use it. This is the Love in London, and it has the older packaging, so it's probably a little bit older. It's a neutral palette with some blue in it. It's cool. It's warm. I loved this. I love the shimmers in here, and I think for me, I think the reason I was hanging on to this so much was because I could use the shimmers as highlights, but I have the BH Cosmetics Desert Oasis palette, so I don't need to keep this. But this is so pretty, and I was grateful to Evelyn for giving it to me, but I do not use it, so I'm going to let it go. It's probably a little bit old. Okay, 2 more. Smitten in Switzerland. I do like this. This is kind of like a nice muted colorful palette with that weird pop of like yellow orange down in the corner. I've never understood that. The quality in these was so good, and the brand, oh my gosh, I just still can't get over them just, you know, collapsing, because it was just so sad. Okay, the Puerto Rico palette. I've never really liked this one because it's all mid-tone. There's no deep matte in here. And it's orange, yellow, and pink. And I like yellow a lot more these days, as well as pink and orange. But a whole palette full of it is just no bueno. And it's just there wasn't a dark shade in there. And so those 4 are going. The only 2 I have left are Passion in Paris and Amor and Amalfi, which are my top 2 anyway. So we're going to call it a day with that. Okay, this one, another one I thought I'd never get rid of, but it's time. I don't use it as much as I usually do, and I have palettes in my collection that have a similar vibe to this, that have the deep mattes. I can dupe this palette with other things that I have in my collection. This is the At Foresight with Raw Beauty Kristi and Colourpop. This was also a mid-tone, all mid-tone and deep palette. There was no light shades in it, and there were only 2 shimmers, and then this shade was the one I always wanted to use, but it was one of those sequin shades, and it had so much fallout. I just ultimately just said to myself, nah, I'm not going to use that. But I have like a few of these shades are reminiscent of Giant Wolves, which I already love and own that palette, so it just, for me, it's not something that I need to hold on to anymore, so there's that. Now the next one I'm only giving away because I got a replacement for it, because the brand, when I got the first one, one of the shades was broke. So I'm just going to give away the one with the broken shade, because it's still got really pretty colors in it, but it doesn't have a shade. A shade is missing. This is the Salmon 2 Moonwish palette. Now I love this palette. So I have my own, I got another one. The brand sent me another one, but I'm going to give away the one that has the broken Neptune shade. So I'm going to hold it up very carefully. So there, right there, that was the shade that came broken for me when I received the palette the first time. So, but all the other shades in here, absolutely beautiful. This is the most interesting and unique palette I think I've ever seen or had in my collection. It's a combination of purples with a couple of warm neutrals and this warm yellow with this fiery, like this bright blue, and then the rest are all kind of blue, gold, pink, purple. Stunning palette. Very, very unique. But I have my own, I have 2 of these, and the first one is broken. This one was broken, so I kept my other one. 2 more palettes that I have that I already had in my collection, but that I repurchased. Only repurchased them because when this brand kind of redid their packaging, they also made their pans magnetic and removable, which for me is super fun because sometimes I like to create my own palettes. Sometimes I don't, but I thought I was going to be able to make that into a series, and it kind of flopped. But I got 2 palettes from Fantasy Cosmetica. I have the Druid palette and the Bard palette. So I still have these in my collection. I just have them in the new packaging. This one is one of the best palettes ever, like in my personal opinion. Like I absolutely love it. This is the Druid palette. The packaging changed, and I like the new packaging better because you can't really see the front, but this is what it looks like. Oh, it's so heavenly. It's such a beautiful, beautiful color story. Good duochromes in here that are just really fun. So this one's practically untouched, as well as the Bard palette. Now, of all of the Fantasy Cosmetica palettes that I have, the Bard, I have 6. Their new one sold out already, so I have to wait for it to be restocked, and I was like kind of on the fence about it anyway, so I didn't get it. So I've fallen off with Fantasy Cosmetica a little bit because I really want to love the color story. I'm not going to just buy, I found that I don't want to just buy palettes to collect them anymore. And I'm not doing my series anyway, my Fantasy Cosmetica palette bingo series. I'm not really doing that. So I don't feel the need to get the Wizard palette, Amanda's palette, or the Harvest of Souls palette. So, but this was the Bard. I like this one. I don't love it. So, but I got the new one anyway with the removable pans. So these 2 palettes from Fantasy Cosmetica, same as the other, same formula and everything. They just made new packaging. And they also changed so you could remove the pans, which I really, really love. I love magnetic palettes. I love being able to remove the shades. And there's some good shades in here, but I don't I don't gravitate toward it as much as the other ones. The Sorcerer is the one I like the least, but this one is just right above it. But there's the bar. Okay, now this one I'm not going to open because this one is unopened. I think when Amanda sent me the Wicked Widow Graveyard Smash, she also sent me an extra Krampus Eve palette. So this is unopened. See, it's unopened. But let me show you what the Krampus Eve palette looks like. Hold on one second. So here's my Krampus Eve, and this one is the one that has the mattes all around, and it has that iridescent shimmer in the middle. I love this. I love the Krampus Continued more than this one, but this is definitely a good palette. So that one is completely untouched, completely unopened. So yeah, there's that. All right, let's go back to Juvia's Place. I got a couple more Juvia's Place palettes that I never thought I would get rid of, but I'm getting rid of them. Because I'm keeping some of these for like blush. I'm keeping some of these for like blushes. Juvia's Place, what happened to Juvia's Place? They used to be the it brand, but I think their formula never improved. And they got away from some of these fun, unique 9-pan color stories and started to do bigger palettes or quads or those 6-pan palettes, which were a little bit more monochromatic, which I like, and I have a couple of them, but I at one point had all of them. And I only now have the 2 6-pan palettes from Juvia's Place. I'm not getting rid of those. I love those to death. Those are great. But I never got on board with their quads. I never got on board with their larger palettes. I am keeping my Culture palette because I do like using that one for blush. And I do have these two, which I use, you know, not as much. This one I definitely use for blush. This is the Festival palette. I still have the Douce, the Tribe, and the Nomad, not going anywhere. Here is this one. I used all of these for blush, and I really don't use the shimmers in here. Sometimes I use that for a highlight. But really, it's too bright, and although I like bright blush, I don't really feel like I need to keep it for that reason. This one is the Saharan 2, which I do like and I used recently. This one has 6 mattes and it has 3 mattes and 6 shimmers. And I like the shimmers in here, and I do actually like the quality of this one and the mattes, but I don't use it a lot, so I'm going to just go ahead and let go. And the next one, now this one I'm only letting go of because I plan to get the Calavera palette from Gourmand Girls, and so I feel like this kind of reminded me of the Gourmand Girls palette when I saw it. This is the Perception palette from Midas Cosmetics. They're apparently rebranded, but I have not heard anybody talk about this brand. So this is my Perception palette. I love this palette. But for some reason, like, I just look at this, and then if I think, I'll put the Calavera palette that's coming out from Gourmand Girls right down here, and you guys will see what I'm talking about. So because I know I'm going to get that one, I'm going to let this one go. Nobody talks about this brand anymore. It's not available anymore. So I'd rather have the Gourmand palette. It has a few more shades. It's a little bit big, but it reminds me a lot of the Perception palette. So I'm just going to go ahead and say bye-bye to the Perception palette. I did really, really love it. Some of the formulas in here are a little funky, so I feel okay letting it go. But for the most part, it comes down to the fact that I'm getting another palette to replace it that's similar to it. So I don't feel like I need to have both, if that makes sense. Okay, this one Kayla gave to me. The only reason I'm not keeping this is because it's so redundant. I don't feel like I need it. This is the Mattes Pressed Pigment Palette by Sugar Drizzle. This is all matte. Please tell me, like, why would I need this? Oh, there's different undertones of purple. I don't need this much purple in a palette. I don't. This doesn't work for me. I like that they included some blues, but honestly, like, I look at these and I just think to myself, I'm like, nah. There's a few shades in here I absolutely love, namely this one. This is like the blurple shade of my dreams, but I don't know that I need to hold on to it. So many similar shades. There are some cooler purples, there are some warmer purples, but no, I don't even think it's been used, but I decided that I'm gonna say sayonara to that. Okay, this one, I'm gonna basically stop. I can't say I'm gonna 100% stop. Stopping at TJ Maxx, but I think I'm kind of getting close to the end of the days when I would go to TJ Maxx, because I find that inevitably I end up decluttering a lot of the TJ Maxx stuff that I get. Not all of it, but some of it. And this one is the Cara Beauty Dare to Be Shocking palette, which I really actually liked, but I don't need to keep it. It's this one with the grays, the blues, the pops of neon, you know, the black, and some brown in there. I don't need to keep this. So I'm just going to go ahead and let that go, unfortunately. Yeah, another TJ Maxx purchase that I'm going to let go of. The Your Golden palette from Colourpop. This is one of their mega palettes. And although I really, really like this, I mean, another reason I got rid of the Baby Got Peach, I got every shade from the Baby Got Peach in here. I don't need this. I don't need this. I would not use, if I'm going to get a mega palette that's like this, I mean, I would rather get the Precious Metals one, which I know I would use, or the Bare Necessities if I really wanted that much neutral. This is very warm. It is golden tones, obviously, but another TJ Maxx thing, I'm just like, what, you know, oh, it's Colourpop at TJ Maxx, and I just bought it. Not a good reason to, not a good reason to do that. So we're just gonna say sayonara. Last but not least for TJ Maxx. Well, no, I have a couple more that I got from TJ Maxx. This one is, and I've talked about this recently on my channel, and this is kind of similar situation to the Lost in Los Angeles. This is the freshly cut Flower Child palette from Rude Cosmetics, also a TJ Maxx purchase. This is a 30 pan color story done right. Look at the size of this. For 30 pans, very easy to store. For 30 pans, I could put this on my tower, but I'm going to get rid of it. Namely, it reminds me of the Ice Cream Dreams palette from Glamlight, and I never used that one either. Here you go. That's the Fresh Cut Flower Child palette, so I'm going to let that go. I'm saving the big one for last, you guys. Okay, now I'm going to look at this one. This was the one I had talked about. Maybe I might save a shade from this for the Darth Vader palette. But this is the main squeeze. I also got this in the Colourpop mystery box. This is the reddish palette that that was their kind of their monochromatic red. Every color is the same except for this shade right here. No, and I don't think I need to save any of these for Darth Vader. They're not red enough. They're too pink. But lots of reds pull pink anyway. But anyway, no, I don't need this. Nothing exciting about it. So sorry. I just, now when Kayla showed me this one, I had decluttered it once before, and then when I'm going through my palettes, I thought to myself, well, I decluttered it once before, why? And then I remembered why. It's my Pleasure palette. I like purple, I do. Not as much as I thought I did, because there was a lot of times I don't really gravitate towards it. But a lot of these purples pull very pink. And the only shade that I just truly am madly in love with is this one, and it's a shimmer, and it's like the darkest shade in the palette. That's a huge no for me. When they do that kind of stuff, no. Okay, so we're going to do 3 BH Cosmetics palettes last. Now this one I'm only getting rid of because it's too neutral. I know I'm not going to use it, and I do not like Jaclyn Hill. So this is the Jaclyn Hill palette. Now this is the one she released for Mother's Day. This one was the one she released for her mom. Actually really, really pretty, but it's so neutral. Ooh, I like this shade though. Ooh, I like that shade though. Do I need to keep this? I haven't even used it. Okay, I'm gonna change my mind on Jaclyn. Okay, I'm gonna put her down. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a fan of Jaclyn Hill herself. But that one shade made me change my mind because I never really looked at the palette before. Okay, let's do these BH Cosmetics palettes. I have 2 of the Birthstone palettes, Ruby and Citrine. Okay, I'm going to let these ones go. That means I only have 4 left. I started with 10. I had 10. So now we're whittling it down to, you know, I got rid of 4 before. Now I'm going to get rid of 2 more. And this is the Ruby. I actually like this one. The Ruby. Sorry, I got cut off. I like this one, but not as much as the Garnet. The Garnet I'm keeping, the Ruby I'm going to let go of. And then the Citrine. These 2 browns are too similar. I love the shimmer selection of these 2. I wish that these 2 yellows were different. This is This is the shimmer yellow and this is the matte yellow. I would rather have them put, I don't know. I like the shimmer yellow, but I wish they were different tones. One's just one finish and one's just the other. So I'm going to let that one go. Last one, you guys. Oh, this one's going to be very sentimental for some people, but it's time. It's time to say goodbye to the Zodiac palette. I know everybody's like, really? You're going to get rid of it? Yes, I am. I don't use this. I do not. I just don't. It has been a long, good run for this palette. It has been a long, good run for the Zodiac palette, but I don't use it, you guys. I don't use it anymore. And it makes me sad because this was like my first love with BH Cosmetics, but I just know that for me, I know based on what I have in my collection, I never reach for it. I always reach for other things. I'm reaching for the Blend Buddy palettes. I'm reaching for my Nomad palettes. I'm reaching for specific things and I'm not reaching for this. So I have to say goodbye. One last look at this beauty. No longer available, of course. And is probably really old. But that, you guys, I know. That, you guys, is my eyeshadow palette declutter video. I hope that you enjoyed. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, I want for you to leave me a bus. It could be a Volkswagen bus. It could be a school bus. Because they, hopped on those school buses and went to Washington, D.C. for rallies and stuff like that during the Vietnam War. You remember that scene in Forrest Gump. Leave me a little bus emoji if you made it all the way to the end of this video. So thank you so much for watching, guys, today. Borahae, finger hearts. I purple you. I keep forgetting to turn on my light. You're awesome and amazing. You always got to remember to love yourself so that you can in turn love others and pour that love back out into other people. Love others as Jesus has loved you. And also remember to treat others as you would like to be treated. Life is short. Time is short. I know we're in a contentious time right now, but we don't have time. We don't have time to be clawing each other's eyes out for no reason. It's just not necessary. Okay? So, God bless y'all. And may the force be with you. And I will catch you in my next video. Okay, TTFN. Bye.